This is Dance Studio 411, where we answer your real-life questions about your toughest studio life predicaments. Parent problems, teacher turnover, student challenges, policy dilemmas, and so much more. Let's talk about what's keeping you awake at night and what you can do about it. Here are your hosts, Suzanne Blake Garrity and Jill Tyrone.
All right, well, welcome everyone to this episode of our Dance Studio 411 podcast. Our special guests today are Kelly Pfeiffer and Lindsey Alesh. They are sisters and they are longtime friends of DanceStudioOwner.com and our Revolution Dancewear family of brands. And of course, they are also just awesome human beings because they run their school together. They're sisters and have a lot of great insight to share today. So welcome, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, we're always curious. Our listeners are, listening from all over, but they want to hear a little bit about your story. So I'm going to let you guys share how you got to this point.
All right. Well, our studio is located in Rolling Meadows, Illinois. It's about 30 minutes outside of Chicago. And we opened in 2007 with about 30 students our first year. And we've grown over the years and have over 600 kids now.
That's amazing.
And we focus more on recreational kids and those programs. And then we have a small competitive team also.
Nice. And you guys, we've crossed through the learning process, and I know you guys are good friends with the team at Twinkle Star, and you use their curriculum, the Twinkle Star Dance, which of course many of our listeners and friends do as well, and we do at our own studio. So, your growth story is extraordinary, and I know you guys have put in a lot of, you make it look easy, as they say, but I know it's been, it takes effort and serving, especially a population of recreational dancers, mostly younger kids, right?
Yeah, we have a huge following of probably 3 to 6 year olds, probably around 300 kids that are that age group. Lindsey over the years has just taken the program and tweaked it to fit our needs and just done an amazing job. So
it's awesome.
It's huge for us.
Yeah, teamwork. It's awesome, Lindsey. I know you do, you work your magic with the kids. So, obviously when all of the crisis we're facing hit, we had to move really quickly. And I think on the podcast today, I wanted to get into, we immediately had to solve short-term problems, but now we're having to look at long-term, especially I know many people who serve the younger preschool age and beyond have all these summer camps. And so you guys kind of have some insights here. So I'm gonna let you kind of run with what you've learned here, because we're virtually dancing and some kids are burning out and parents want to just, throw in the towel on certain days. So I'm gonna let you kind of share what insights you have.
All right. I'll just start with saying that, Lindsey came up with the idea over spring break when we realized we're going to have to start doing some Zoom stuff. She said, when we had to close, it was right by spring break. She says, why don't we do a staycation with the kids? We can figure out Zoom and how it'll work and how we can run classes. So that was our first stab at it. So she took over and said, why don't we run a Moana camp? So we ran it for 5 days, although we said going forward, we'd probably do 3-day camps. We had about 60 kids on.
It's amazing.
For the week, and we ran each day. We broke it out for about 45 minutes to an hour was the time frame. I would say for younger kids in that 3 to 6 or 7 age range, I don't think they can do more than a half hour dance on a Zoom call. So we did dance for a half hour and then a 15-minute craft that sometimes ran over, so we'd be on the call a little longer. And then the dance part was basically like a warm-up, a standing warm-up, a sitting warm-up, and then we would do maybe a freeze dance, and then we taught them a routine. And we originally had the camp ages 3 to 8. So what we did was the first routine we'd spend about 10 minutes on would be geared toward the younger end. And then we broke off and used one of our college students that were home to do an older lyrical fun one from Moana. So I think the lyrical one was Warrior. Is that what it's called?
I believe so. Yeah.
I believe it's called Warrior. And then which one did you do?
where we are. So we used, one of our crafts was a surfboard. So we danced with the surfboard. So that was really fun for them.
Yeah.
And how did that's the thing, right? I see all these people coming up with creative ways to get the craft either sourced or given, or how did you guys solve for that with the craft?
So for that week, Lindsey went to the dollar store and checked out what they had there. And we were able to come up with crafts for each day just from the dollar store. And then we sent a list out to parents what they would need on which days.
I tried to make the crafts because we did this, I think, within like 2 days. Like it was very
Of course you did. You pulled off a miracle. I like it.
So I tried to find crafts that the parents might have already a lot of the supplies at home, as far as like, you know, a slime craft, and we made a popsicle stick boat, which a lot of moms have those sticks at home. I tried to also come up with some other options in case their kids didn't have anything, you know, just a piece of paper or, you know, just in case. But for the most part, everybody was able to get out, get those crafts. So it worked out really great.
And we did, one of the days we did energy balls. So there was like a little mixing involved with granola and all that stuff. And the parents loved that. And the kids now post like if they're making them again to replenish. Awesome. They've been sending us pictures like we're making them again. So
that's awesome. Now, what time of day? I know it used to be like, oh, we have to worry about schedules because people are working. Well, it just all blended into one. So what did you find was the effective time of day for this?
10:30 was when we offered it, and we found that to be a good time.
And what are you guys thinking ahead to when we're out of virtual school? If these moms have other kids, right? Some of the dilemma I've been trying to solve for myself is that some of the moms are like, oh, I'm so busy managing the education, but now that's going to end. So we're going into summer and even looking ahead, have you thought about other days and times for these camps?
I think we're going to run some during the day, probably focus on like a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. For the 3 days. So that way we kind of knock off those weekends and those days of everyone getting back or just kind of needing a day off on Friday. And then we'll also offer evening camps because we know some parents are stuck doing work and don't like to multitask, but we have found some parents that are thankful that it's during the day because they're like, I can turn this camp on, and I can be in the room with my kid, but I'm not having to like help them with things, and they just do it.
Right. Especially because same thing, right? You're working, that is a great point. And that's what we love about the podcast, right? Good ideas shared helps, right? You help other moms. We're like, this is the 1 hour I need to get that whatever done. So that's helpful.
The crafts we would do with the kids. So I know you could do the craft before the camp started or whatnot, but we did it as part of our camp. So we kind of entertained the kids also on there. Like I would craft along with them. So they were kind of excited. They saw my kitchen, you know, as we're making all these supplies. And we really kept the kids engaged. And they were able to talk to us during that time also and just chat while we crafted. So that was kind of nice.
That's awesome. And I mean, I know everybody's location may dictate pricing, but pricing kind of went out the window here with the whole Zooming. Was there a price point that you tested, and what would you advise moving forward?
So we offered that free because we threw it together last minute. We had no idea how Zoom would work, and it was just really our way of testing. But going forward, we were talking about possibly $39 for the 3 days. And then maybe coming up with an unlimited number so they could take unlimited camps, because we've been running our tuition like a membership where they could take as many classes as they wanted for a price. So that's where I'm like, some moms might be like, we just do the membership, and if we come, we come, and if we don't, you know.
Exactly. And that's kind of why I think it's really helpful for our listeners is, you know, we are having to pivot every day. It's sort of like what we do. And, you know, the summer options are, you know, perhaps we can create a model. I mean, you and I talked about that, Kelly, back when this all was hitting. We too went to an unlimited model. And what we've found is that some of the moms are doing the fitness classes that never would have gotten in the studio before. And perhaps if we were to even say, listen, for unlimited summer pricing, you can do a dance class, you can do a camp. I mean, that just gets them interested and engaged. I mean, I don't know what the summer is going to look like, because everywhere it seems to be evolving and changing, but even if everybody's back to quote open, there are going to still be there's going to be a handful of people that this doesn't work for them to go back out into. I mean, you've probably thought of that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and in Illinois, it seems like we're going to be real far behind with openings because they say mid-June is our peak, and all our 4th of July things are canceled. The pools are not opening for the summers. Like, so there's going to be very little activity where people will be able to join together. So,
which could benefit us, right? At the dance studio, if all these camps are, not that I want summer camps and pools to be closed, but parents are going to be looking for options for their kids. So are you guys going to stick with maybe the themes and the ideas you had thought about doing in person? And if you are given the option to open in person, will you do like a hybrid model?
Yes. So I think if we are allowed to open, we would do a hybrid model, but I think at this point, we're kind of focusing more on the virtual aspect of it. We are just going to run with the themes and ideas that we had from before this all started when we knew we were going to do summer. We do use a lot of the Twinkle Star themes. And then also, I've heard Confetti on the Dance Floor also has things out there. And I know people can come up with their own camps too. It's just good to think of what are kids into right now? What are those big things?
Exactly. Lindsey, you're 60 preschoolers on a Zoom. Sounds like you're brave. Are there any tips for, many of us that we found they want to just show you their cat or their dog or, it's distracting and the kids are a little more experienced now, but what are some tips as a dance teacher that you've learned that our listeners would love to hear?
I just try to talk to each of the kids and say hi to them as much as I can. Obviously, when you have that many kids on the call, it's really hard to, but I try to point out kids during the class or, focus on a student or something. Or if I see, a 3-year-old sometimes loses their attention, but I'll try to call on that kid and be like, oh, make sure you're doing your kicks or, whatever we're doing at that time.
That's adorable. Yeah, the engagement part. You guys were masterful, in person with these kids, but now you've had to become really masterful, in the virtual environment. I'm sure that, like all of us, you can't wait to see them again, but your business needs to have a continuation through. Is there any words of wisdom? Because you probably see it on our dance studio member group. Some people are like, what am I doing wrong that the younger kids are not as interested? Are there any words of wisdom or solace that you would offer?
I think it's just remembering that little kids don't have a long attention span. So you got to keep moving and changing up what you're doing. If you expect them to stand in one place and follow and keep following you, you can't keep doing that. You got to change up what you're doing, standing up and then sitting down and doing something. So they're, constantly moving. What else would you, and just animated.
I think it's just, having a lot of energy while you're teaching, but also just getting kids to try it is our biggest thing. Like a lot of kids, once the parents actually do it, they're very happy with it. They're excited. Even our little 3-year-olds, we have a little 3-year-old that pops on, I think 6 times a week right now.
That's awesome.
Any class she can take, she's taking. So, but then there's parents that haven't given it a try yet. So really it's important to reach out to those families and be like, get your kid on. It's not the same as school. I think a lot of parents are comparing it to the Zoom school classes. Yeah. And it's not,
No, it's not.
A lot of kids have really enjoyed and had a break from, a mental break from, getting onto a dance class instead.
Yeah, I actually think that the mind shift that I've had, and this is what you and I am so glad you guys are on this webinar, this podcast today, is that we are finding that the more we just opened up the doors to different styles, that kids are just popping in and they're trying it. And I think that we have to, so instead of being like the summer camp that was Monday through Friday, 9 to noon, as where I would call a little bit of that element, we're going to have to toss that out the window for the virtual life, consolidate it down to maybe the 3 or 5 days, but on a shorter time period. And then what else can we offer those kids? To your point, Lindsey, if we had preschool dance classes every Tuesday afternoon, well, maybe we do Tuesday, Thursday virtual dance Tuesday, and they can join in on that. That's definitely the direction that we're heading because, it's like they just they need something to do every day. And it's, what's the harm in them following along, 5 days a week for an hour? Yeah.
They're excited to see us, they want to hang out with us. So.
Exactly. You guys are like the cool place to hang out for the preschoolers. I like that. So now so you're thinking ahead to that inclusive model, which makes sense. I mean, a lot of people want to know, well, what are you doing about fall? I mean, we think about this too. Is it too early, too soon to even worry about that? Or what are you guys thinking?
I mean, I kind of have thought through a ton of, just brainstorming ideas. I know I've read on some groups, someone saying, well, maybe they would have some kids come in and then you would Zoom the people that can attend that class you'd record that class as a Zoom class. Some kids would get it live and you could rotate in each week who comes in. It's just a lot to think about because I thought, well, then you have to have that time in between to disinfect your rooms. So then are you paying your teachers to basically sit or help disinfect for like 15 minutes to a half hour? So I thought, well, we have 4 rooms, so maybe we could teach in 2 with kids, send all the kids home and disinfect, and then teachers go in the other 2 rooms and do a Zoom class with no kids, so you're still going when you have to technically be shut down. Yeah. So yeah, it doesn't seem very cost effective. Right
I know,
now.
Right? Exactly. From the business standpoint. Well, look at what you guys said. I mean, you can have an unlimited amount of kids on a Zoom call, but you can only have so many in person. And I think that's what we want to just get everybody thinking about is this has pushed us to the edge of our innovation muscle. But I think that if we keep sharing ideas like this, it will help. And I know that we need to keep the kids dancing and it's healthy for them. Like you said, Lindsey, they like to just hang out with you, see what you're doing. And that's good for them. And I think the parents appreciate, even if it's just an hour a day, once a week, an hour is better than not. And so, yeah, well, those are great tips. So any last, words of wisdom that you've learned about you guys yourself, for our listeners?
Definitely stronger than we thought and more creative, I think, than we thought. And that I do have an amazing staff, and Lindsey just it wasn't even an option to stop. It was what are we going to do next? And how are we going to push through this? And so we continue to do that. And that's important. So
it is. That's awesome. Well, I appreciate the gift of your time. I know it helps our listeners to feel like they're not alone. And we do hope that it helps you keep your passion for dance alive when you get these new ideas. So thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Dance Studio 411. Visit us online at dancestudio411.com for more great resources and to submit a question for a future episode. Our #1 goal is to help you build a successful dance studio business and keep your passion for dance alive.